U današnjoj emisiji vodimo vas u podmorski svijet kakav još niste vidjeli. Podmorski svijet budućnosti. Možda niste znali, no Hrvatska je prva država u svijetu koja razvija robote koji pomažu roniocima.
Breaking the Surface je interdisciplinarna međunarodna radionica koja se bavi pomorskom robotikom. No ono na što smo posebno ponosni je da ne da prikazujemo samo robote koji rade pod vodom i na vodi, već i aplikacije takve robotike. Tako da ovdje imamo ljude koji se bave podvodnom biologijom, arheologijom i stvarima koje su vezane uz pomorsku sigurnost, između ostalog i pronalaskom mina u podvodnom svijetu. Ove godine imamo više od 20 predavača iz čitavog svijeta koji su stručnjaci u svojim područjima. Isto tako, doktorandima i studentima koji su na diplomskom studiju omogućavamo da iz prve ruke rade na ovim ovdje robotskim sustavima i upoznaju se s njima u najveće detalje.
Možete li zamisliti svijet u kojem podvodni roboti komuniciraju s roniocem, pomažu mu, ali ga i razumiju? To više nije budućnost, a projekt koji to omogućuje vode hrvatski znanstvenici.
Između ostalih projekata na Breaking the Surface-u prezentiramo i projekt CADI, Cognitive Autonomous Diving Body. To je prvi ICT evropski projekt koji koordinira jedna hrvatska institucija, u ovom slučaju Sveučilište u Zagrebu, Fakultet elektrotehnike i računarstva. Ovdje iza nas se nalazi ekipa iz laboratorija za podvodne sustave i tehnologije i upravo u ovom ovdje trenutku rade eksperimente sa robotskim sustavima koji su namijenjeni da pomažu roniocima tijekom njihovih aktivnosti. Ova ovdje stvar je površinska platforma koja služi kao privatni satelit roniocu dok on obavlja svoje aktivnosti. Dok je platforma za praćenje ronioca u potpunosti hrvatski proizvod, zajedno sa našim partnerima na CADI projektu sa University of Newcastle smo razvili ovaj ovdje sustav koji Ivor sad stavlja na reu i koji nam omogućava da korištenjem inercijskih senzora na virtualnom modelu, na površini, vidimo šta ronioc radi. Dakle, možemo točno vidjeti kada ronioc pliva, jer onda, evo, ili sada kad si digla ruke, možemo na virtualnom modelu vidjeti kako se tvoje ruke miču i po prvi puta točno znati šta ronioc radi dok je pod vodom, čak i ako smo na površini. U sklopu CADI projekta, osim površinske platforme, razvijamo i ovu ovdje ronilicu, a to je pametni prijatelj ronioc koji pomaže roniocima tijekom njihovih aktivnosti. Ronioc će u budućnosti ispred sebe imati ovakvu jednu ronilicu koja će ga voditi do lokacije do koje treba doći ili ga snimati i razgovarati s njim iz bilo kojeg drugog razloga. Ronilica će cijelo vrijeme gledati ronioca i prepoznavati ga u svojoj slici. Tako da kada će ronioc plivati naprijed, ronilica će uvijek biti na određenoj udaljenosti od tog ronioca i snimati ga kamerama i sonarima koji su montirani na samu ronilicu.
And our role in the CADI project is to provide the communication and tracking technology for the underwater robots. The sort of technology we would use for this above water simply isn't available to us underwater. GPS and radio communications won't work below the sea. So instead we have to use acoustic technology, using sound waves to transmit signals through the water. And that's our role in the project, is to provide the acoustic communication and positioning technology. And it's a very challenging problem. The signals we send through the water get very badly distorted. We pick up all kinds of noise from the thrusters and other animals out in the sea and all kinds of things, and from shipping traffic as well. So the signals we use are just outside the audible frequency range between 24 and 32 kilohertz. So divers that are in the water will not be able to hear the signals. The system's capable of tracking several vehicles underneath the water and the diver, and we can have various different communication links between the diver and the underwater vehicle, or between the underwater vehicle and the surface vehicle. So the whole system is completely networked, and eventually every element of the system will be able to get a position on any other part of the system as well.
Trenutno se nalazimo na mjestu gdje ekipa iz Nacionalnog savjeta za istraživanje u Genovi iz Italije, koji su partneri na CADI projektu, rade na svojem robotu. Naime, ovaj robot je razvijen prije nekoliko godina, ali sada ga razvijaju i modificiraju ponovo u svrhu interakcije sa robotima.
So basically we are performing autonomous guidance with the vehicle that is in the water, and we are also collecting images from a diver because we want to develop interaction between the robot and the diver. So we are collecting images in order to understand what the diver is doing and what the diver wants the robot to do in order to perform a collaborative task underwater. This is a very big machine, 400 kilograms. We have 8 thruster, and programming is done in C++ under Linux. It's an open software. And we developed everything, every line of code is done by us, as well as every bolt and every pieces of the robot that you can see in the water. The next step will be the development of the interaction with the diver.
Osim projekta CADI, prisutni su se mogli upoznati s nekoliko drugih projekata vezanih za istraživanje podmorja, temeljenih na tehnikama i inteligenciji robota.
Sada se nalazimo na mjestu gdje istraživači iz Evologicsa iz Njemačke rade svoje eksperimente sa površinskim vozilima koje možete vidjeti ovdje iza mene. Inače, oni su stručnjaci u izradi modema koji su nam nužni za komunikaciju pod vodom.
The advances on this device are, for example, the collision avoidance system based on the laser scanner. This is pretty new technology which is used also in combination with different radar technologies. Data merging in different channels help very much to determine the parameter of the obstacle and to avoid it correctly. So some other advantages are, for example, the autonomous long-term autonomous missions for bathymetry survey. It's kind of oceanographic studies. So the vehicle can run between 10 and 20 hours autonomously, and during the mission collecting pretty much data, the operator can, in offline mode, make post-processing of the data and create so-called 3D pictures of the bottom.
Što će u praksi značiti ovi roboti, objasnili su izraelski arheolog Jacob Sharvitz s Pomorskog arheološkog odsjeka, tijela zaduženog za podvodnu baštinu Izraela, i Amerikanka Megan Licklider-Mandon, doktorandica Pomorskog arheološkog programa u Teksasu.
The reason why I'm at the conference, though, is to hopefully get an idea of some of the technology that's coming out, to be able to use it to create 3D models off this aircraft site. So in underwater archaeology and in robotics, ROVs are used to document sites, to map sites, to help archaeologists do what they need to do to understand a site. But a lot of the times, divers are used to make the more meticulous artifact drawings or 3D models, the image acquisition for 3D models. So what I'm doing is trying to figure out whether or not a small ROV can be used in depths that are hazardous to divers over a longer amount of time to get the images for making a 3D model.
We started in this summer with a group from Croatia by the head of Nikola to start to find, locate and document the sites, the archaeological sites, especially in the shallow water, where it's more complicated for us to document because the breaker zone, where the places with very high energy of waves, where the visibility is not the best we wish, and sometimes we have a very short time or a very small windows of time to document it.
The work that I do is primarily on underwater aircraft and aviation archaeology. So aviation archaeology is a relatively new niche kind of field, and we're hoping to just further it along. It borrows from a lot of the other subfields of archaeology, but mainly maritime archaeology. So I'm working on a project in Vis area where I hope to look at 2 aircraft in particular, if I have enough time and funding, of course, because that's always the main issue. If I have enough funding, I like to do a regional survey for aircraft, but looking at 2 sites in particular, a B-24 that was built and flown by a Tulsa crew, part Tulsa, Oklahoma crew, and a B-17 that both went down near to Vis. The B-17 is pretty much intact and the B-24 is completely disarticulated.
In Israel, we have many archaeological sites along the coast. I mean, in a few years ago, we were thinking that we have every 20 meters shipwrecks. Today, we know that in some places we have one on the top of the other. And they mix together and next to the ports, like Caesarea Harbor, Akko Harbor. We have more than 30 shipwrecks in the area. Now, to excavate them and document them, it's very difficult, especially because usually we are a small team. And with this technology, we hope that it will be more easy to document the shipwrecks after the excavation. Because nowadays, what we are doing is exactly like our teachers did 20, 30, 40 years ago, using a pencil and a slab of plastic and writing it down, using measurements and spending a lot of time. Sometimes it's taking 2 or 3 weeks to expose the shipwreck and 4 or 5 weeks to document it. And we don't have usually this time for more than a month of quiet sea, calm sea. It's always in between the storms. Okay, so if we expose the area and we are leaving it and the storm is coming and the next day we can find it covered again and we have to start everything again. With the technology, we can start to do it right at the same time of the excavation. Okay, so we can collect some data, we can collect some information, and after we expose the area, the technology or some kind of platypus like they use here can run in the area and do twice or even more times the documentation compared to diver.
Everybody else is kind of concentrating on getting those images by divers, and it'd be nice to use machinery for it because it's a lot safer and you can do it over a lot shorter amount of time because of the depths involved, and I think that it'll produce just as good of a 3D model.
Na međunarodnoj radionici Breaking the Surface 3D modeliranjem podmorja bave se i drugi projekti. Među njima je i tim laboratorija za robotiku na španjolskom sveučilištu u Gironi, kao i hrvatski kedi i njihov je robot autonomni ili samostalno misleći.
The name of the autonomous underwater vehicle is Sparus, and is an open platform for mapping and inspecting the seafloor. So with this vehicle we can go very close to the bottom, we can take images, we can take sonar, and we can build maps, 2D and 3D maps of the bottom. The concept of the robot is an open platform that can integrate many equipment. So it has been conceived for researchers, but also for any other application that companies or researchers are interested on. In this demonstration, the people will see how the vehicle moves autonomously at surface and also underwater, and they will be able to see the maps that the vehicle is doing while it's navigating in this area. Autonomous underwater vehicles usually have only one propeller, and they move up and down with some fins. In this case, the robot has several propellers, 3 in this case, and it has extended maneuverability. So it can stop, it can rotate, it can go up, it can go down, and it can go also forward, having a good hydrodynamics.
Na odsjeku za industrijsko inženjerstvo sveučilišta u Firenci razvijaju projekt dvojnog robota, najvećeg od prikazanih na radionicama.
Arrow stand for Archaeological Robot Systems for the World Sea. We have 10 partners in this consortium, which is coordinated by myself. And now in Biogran na Moru we have 3 teams working together at the integration towards the final demonstration. The idea is to be able to perform fast surveys on large areas of the seabed in order to find new sites, new wrecks. Then having vehicles capable of acquiring images and detailed information, so classifying the site of the wreck. And then also there is a team from the Technical University of Tallinn, which has developed a turtle robot named UCAT, and is taught to enter, to penetrate sites and modern wrecks.
I'm running a research center called Center for Biorobotics. And biorobotics means that we make robots that copy nature in a way. Specifically, we copy fish. Why would we do that? Because you probably have noticed that fish are excellent swimmers. And the robots we have around nowadays are not so good. They're simply not so efficient, and they're clumsy, they're big often. And if you notice, they use completely different mechanisms for moving around. Underwater robot uses thrusters or propellers to do it. Interestingly so, nature has never invented a propeller. Instead, they use normally some sort of a flapping motion, or they use jet propulsion to move forward. Another aspect of underwater animals we try to copy is sensing underwater. Humans have sensing sensors for seeing. We have eyes, we have for hearing, we have ears, we have tongue for tasting, and so do other animals. But all fish have another sensing organ, which is called a lateral line. When an animal moves around, it can sense the flow around it, and very, very sensitively so. It can understand like very small waves or turbulence and currents and things like that. So we try to copy this kind of a new sense. We gave robots a new sense, which is a flow sensing. And we demonstrated we can do quite a few things like that. For example, we can stay in the wake of another robot or an object or somewhere and understand where objects are, because when flow is flowing, since there is always, it leaves a trace behind. When an animal is moving, it also leaves a trace in the water. Fish do several things with a lateral line. For example, they understand where is the prey, because when prey moves through water, it leaves a trace behind. And predator fish can catch up this trace and then again catch a prey. And it works even if the fish is completely blind. It doesn't have any other evidence that the prey is around, but it's still able to locate it.
Nakon što smo dobili objašnjenje kako funkcionira robot riba, upitali smo koliko su nove tehnologije zaista primijenjene u predstavljenim robotima s propelerima.
I have to say that a lot of technology has been already developed in the field of oil and gas, and even more in the field of military. What we are trying to do is to adapt pieces of engineering, pieces of technology to the needs of archaeologists that, of course, do not have the budget of oil and gas industry or military.
I've been studying munitions that were disposed in Hawaii at sea at the end of World War II, how we can go down and study them, look at the animals that live around them, find out if they're leaking material into the mud around them. And so these technologies give us a real opportunity to be able to inexpensively solve the problem that I'm trying to solve. So the robots are definitely the technologies of the future. I mean, right now when we have to put people, when you're dealing with things that potentially could explode, you don't want to put people in the water around them. So If a machine explodes, it's sad and it costs money, but nobody gets hurt. So all of these technologies that are being developed, both for looking, but also for physically manipulating, they're wonderful.
These two vehicles are thought to work as a dyad. One of the vehicles will work at the surface with the GPS signal available, and it will be capable of locating the second vehicle navigating at the bottom with the sensor payload, mainly acoustic and optical payload. So the idea is to have an exact georeferencing of the images and sonograms acquired from the sensor mounted on the vehicle at the bottom. The vehicles that you see here can work with 2 meters of wave because they are quite big.
A koje su prednosti ovakvih velikih podvodnih robota?
When you have to deploy vehicles at sea, it's a problem of compromise, a trade-off between the big dimension, the ease of deployment, and the stability of the vehicle during operation. Because larger vehicles are capable of facing harder conditions, a rough sea, but the deployment is more difficult. In addition, bigger vehicles are usually more expensive. So the hope of every scientist, every archaeologist is to have a vehicle that can be carried on a bag and then can resist to every kind of wind and seas and currents. But this is not possible because a small vehicle has small power inside, it cannot move fast and so on. So we are attempting to have a vehicle big enough to have power and to be fast for fast surveys, but then to be light enough and transportable in order to be used by archaeologists.
Dok uživate u prekrasnoj panorami Biograda koju je snimio dron, pogledajte i more u kojem se vide podvodni roboti. Zahvaljujući njima, u budućnosti će biti moguće napraviti slične panorame podmorskog svijeta. Gledajte nas ponovno u istom terminu za tjedan dana, a reprizu emisije možete pogledati subotom u 17 sati na drugom programu Hrvatske radiotelevizije.